Hey guys, thanks for watching the second video in this training series. If you haven't watched the second video, I definitely recommend checking it out. This training is all about how to put legal protections in place throughout the life cycle of your business. You now know why the legal protections are so important for your e-commerce business, what the most important protections are, and finally, let's talk about how to actually put them in place. So if you think back to why you started this e-commerce journey in the first place, your big why, which we talked about in video 1, the overall goal is to launch and grow your business for really as long as possible. So I wanted to show you what the typical life cycle of your e-commerce business will look like. So the typical life cycle includes the idea phase, the startup phase, the growth phase, and the maturity phase. In the idea phase, you're learning. You're researching, you're taking courses, you're watching videos, and every tool you can really get your hands on. You have aspirations and goals, and you're starting to formulate a business plan and think of product ideas with that business plan. This is the thinking stage. You haven't yet pulled the trigger in starting the business yet. In the startup phase, you decided your idea is worth pursuing. You set up your legal entity and put in place the 3 foundational legal protections I discussed in video 2. You are sourcing and tweaking products, testing e-commerce platforms, developing your avatar. You're unfortunately wearing every hat in your business, which is time consuming and draining, but you know you need to do that at this stage in order to get the business moving. You may still be working multiple jobs. You might be working your 9-to-5 job along with this e-commerce business. You are truly in survival mode, and you know if you can just get through this stage, you'll make it. The startup phase is unfortunately, however, where most businesses fail. If you make it to the growth phase, however, you were able to survive. You're starting to hire employees and contractors so you don't have to wear every hat in your business. You are selling on more and more platforms, and you're sourcing and expanding your product lines more and more. Maybe you're getting into wholesaling. You have moved your business out of your house and have rented or purchased a warehouse for your inventory. You know you have a proven sales model and a customer base to go with it. In the maturity phase, you have grown as much as you possibly can with your current model. You're at the top of your industry or niche, and you have 3 options to consider here. The first option is you could sell a portion or all of your business. The second option is you could sustain your current business, move into new markets, add products, expand the business in some way. And the third option is you could end your business, dissolve it, and retire. Now that we discussed the e-commerce life cycle, let me explain how the legal life cycle of your e-commerce business fits into it. As we go through this, you're going to see the 4 foundational legal protections I discussed in video 2 play out in all of these phases. So in the startup phase, the legal life cycle starts with entity selection and the recommended limited liability company setup. You're making sure you have a strong brand name and the rights to your brand name through proper searches and trademarking, which is always important in the startup phase. You will need to make sure your products are compliant with all regulations and may even need to do a patent search to make sure your product does not have a patent on it. Content protection through copyrights is important in this phase. You want to make sure someone doesn't steal your content, but also if you are using a third party to create your content, logo, or images, you want to confirm that they have not stolen the content from someone else as well. You will make sure to have all your written agreements in place with your vendors, influencers, suppliers, and anyone else you're in business with. Insurance is very important from the start here too. Making sure you have general liability, product liability, and any other policy in place your insurance company recommends. I always say the LLC will protect your personal assets and insurance will protect your business assets. The startup phase is a great time to consult with an accountant as well to make sure you're benefiting from the tax structure that fits your needs and your family's needs. A lot of businesses also in this stage need funding, whether in the form of partners, providing equity or loans. Making sure this is structured correctly is key on the legal and the finance side. If you are leasing equipment or property, you want to make sure that the lease terms fit your needs as well. And I know it's scary to really think about, but even in the startup phase, there are a ton of disputes and lawsuits that arise. These could be IP infringement, breach of contract, product liability, ADA compliance, employee disputes, and the list goes on and on. Remember, 53% of small businesses are involved in lawsuits. So in the growth phase, the legal cycle really starts to ramp up. Although you have your LLC, you'll want to consider adding more layers of protection and restructuring. You may consider adding a trust or separate LLCs to hold title to each asset. On the branding side, you'll add more trademarks. You may license some of your branding to third parties. For your content protection, you will add more copyrights and register your valuable content as you go through the process. As you add more product lines, you'll need to consider the product regulations and compliance, and may have a unique product you created that you'll want to patent. Your relationships will grow and you'll need more and more written agreements. You may actually also add partners and influencers to your business. You'll need to consider the terms and structuring of those finance deals. You'll move the business out of your house and you'll actually start to lease or purchase property to do so. You may wholesale your products to third parties, and you'll want to make sure the terms are structured correctly. As you add more and more products, you'll likely need to expand your insurance coverage. If you haven't done an estate plan yet, now is the time to ensure your family is protected and your business will go where you want it to go. As a business, you'll be more known during this stage, the growth stage. You'll be on everyone's radar, increasing the likelihood of lawsuits from your competitors, your customers, your influencers, suppliers, vendors, landlords, third parties, employees, and again, the list goes on and on. During the maturity phase, you'll be faced with a choice to sell, sustain, or dissolve. If you plan to sell all or a portion of your business, there are various ways this can be structured for tax and legal purposes. You can do an asset sale, a stock or membership interest sale, or a merger. You could stay on as a consultant, keep equity, or get out entirely. There are endless ways to structure the sale. You'll also want to make sure your estate plan and your business succession plan is structured to account for the sale. If you decide to sustain the business, the legal aspects will look very similar to the growth phase. Although you have your LLC, you may have even more entities at this point. You'll want to consider adding more layers of protection and restructuring. You may consider adding a trust or separate LLCs to hold title to each asset. On the branding side, you'll add more trademarks and may license some of your branding to third parties. For your content protection, you will add more copyright and register valuable content. As you add more product lines, you'll need to consider the product regulations and compliance. You may have a unique product that you created that you want to patent. Your relationships will grow and you'll need more and more written agreements. You may add partners and influencers to your business. You will need to consider the terms and structuring. You may consider purchasing a warehouse or additional property to house your business, which will need to be structured correctly. You may wholesale your products to third parties and will make sure that the terms are structured correctly. As you add more and more products, you'll likely need to expand your insurance coverage. You'll want to revisit your estate plan at this point. And as a business, you'll be at the top of your industry at this point. So you'll be on everyone's radar again, increasing the likelihood of lawsuits from competitors, customers, influencers, third parties, and everyone else really in the industry. If you decide to end and dissolve your business, you'll need to consider the wind-up procedures, including all your relationships, documents to file, notices to provide, and make sure your business succession plan is structured to account for the dissolution. At this point, I know what you're thinking. This is really, really a lot. How can I possibly have the time to do all this, or even know what to do? I know how much lawyers cost per hour as they charge for every second. How could I possibly afford that? Plus, I need to make efficient decisions in my business, and it takes weeks to get a simple project done or answer from a typical lawyer. I've tried going the DIY Googling route, but that takes too much time, and I don't even know if there are any correct answers there. Maybe I'll try LegalZoom if I haven't yet, but they aren't very responsive, and I will deal with customer service, not a real lawyer. What am I going to do? As you know, I've been an e-commerce seller for over 8 years now and an online business lawyer for longer, and have spent thousands of hours in different courses, forums, seminars, learning and perfecting the best practices, not only for my business, but for the business of my clients. Is there a place for traditional legal advice and practices? Of course. In fact, I do it on a daily basis. But I knew there had to be a better way for e-commerce sellers to get the right answers and move forward the correct way. So here's the old way and here is the new way. The old way I just explained, which takes too much time, is too expensive, too overwhelming, and really can't necessarily be trusted. On the other hand, the new way is all about getting your legal stuff done in a supportive, efficient, and friendly environment through community and mentorship. Through this type of platform, you gain knowledge, connections, inspirations, resources, support, validation, and accountability. And until now, this has not been done before in the legal industry. I like to boil it down to helping e-commerce sellers prevent, protect, and prosper in their businesses through support, education, and collaboration. The new way allows my clients and I to achieve all the whys in our businesses and lives. Look, I'm here because I want to get you legally protected through the life of your business. Over the past 3 videos, I've taught and taught and taught, and I just want to see you create and protect your dream business, your dream life, and your dream family. So be on the lookout for an email in the next few days where I'll show you how this new, better way of getting your legal in order works. It's what I like to call shop lock. Thanks for sticking with me for these 3 videos. I hope you guys really learned a lot.